In this module, we are going to study about cloud computing. We are going to explore about cloud computing architecture, cloud service delivery models like infrastructure as a service, platform as a service and software as a service, and also cloud deployment models like public, private and hybrid. So, this module comprises of these concepts specially related to cloud computing. So, in this video, we are going to talk about cloud computing architecture. So, before we go and understand what is cloud computing architecture, we will see one standard definition for cloud computing by NIST, right. So, cloud computing is a model for enabling ubiquitous, convenient, on-demand network access to a shared pool of configurable computing resources, right, that can be rapidly provisioned and released with minimal management effort or service provider interaction. Right. So, you have already worked a lot on cloud platform like AWS and Azure. So, you understand now, right, and we also have studied about virtualization. Okay, we have seen what is hypervisor, what is virtualization. We have talked that virtualization is the core idea behind cloud computing. So, to provision, see, we have a shared pool of configurable computing resources like network, storage, servers, RAM, all that. Okay, so we have very big data center and we have lot of such resources available, right. So, we can on demand we can get those services. Okay, you want to access those services on demand, you can get them easily with very less effort. Okay, and release, see, rapidly provisioning means virtual machine provisioning we have seen. So, you can easily provision the the services, right. You can and release them with minimal effort or service provider interaction. See, now you are talking about we are using some platforms by the service provider. Okay, you are using AWS, you are using Azure, they are the third party providers. You are taking help of the service providers and doing all this thing, right. So, it is a model for enabling ubiquitous, means which can be found everywhere. Ubiquitous means it is available everywhere, convenient and on demand network access. Okay, wherever you want you can access this. Ubiquitous means found everywhere, simultaneously at a time you can access it from any sources, right. So, this is the standard definition of cloud computing by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology. Now, let us try to see the cloud computing architecture, right. So, this is the architectural diagram, reference architectural diagram of cloud computing. If you see here, we are having different roles in this. There is something called cloud consumer, there is cloud auditor, cloud provider now, and cloud broker, and finally the cloud carrier, right. So, each of these we will try to understand. If you see in cloud provider, so AWS is a platform, Amazon is a cloud provider, its service name is AWS. We are able to access all those services in that platform. So, AWS is or Azure is giving us PaaS, SaaS and IaaS, right. So, all these things we are going to see who is a cloud consumer. We are cloud consumers, we are trying to access the services of the cloud, right. So, in simple terms, again, provider is somebody like AWS or Azure, they are providing us, Microsoft is the provider, right. So, we have an auditor, we have a cloud carrier and cloud broker. Okay. So, we will try to understand each of these terms in this architecture. Okay. So, cloud computing reference architecture defines 5 major actors. We have seen these actors, right. Each actor is an entity, a person or an organization. Each actor is an entity or it can be a person or an organization that participates in a transaction or process and perform tasks in cloud computing. So, all these 5 roles, they are involved in the transaction with the cloud computing and they also perform some task in the cloud computing. For example, if you see, a cloud consumer may request cloud services like us from a cloud provider like AWS directly or via a cloud broker. Sometimes we are able to directly use the cloud platforms, but sometimes we may use a cloud broker to talk to cloud what we say, no, provider. We may use cloud broker also. And there is somebody called cloud auditor, conducts independent audits and may contact the others to collect necessary information. So auditor is basically between consumer and the provider, and also between the broker, right? So auditor is somebody who will audit whether the agreement, whatever you have agreed for, are you achieving, are you supporting that or not, are you giving that services or not. Okay, so we will see the more detailed definitions of each of these one by one, right? So cloud consumer, a person or organization that maintains a business relationship with and uses services from the cloud provider. So like us, we may use AWS to deploy our web applications, right? Then cloud provider, a person or organization or entity responsible for making a service available to the interested parties. So Microsoft Azure, Azure is a platform. So Microsoft platform, they are making services for us to use them. So all these are cloud providers. Then we have a cloud auditor, a party that can conduct independent assessment of cloud services, information system operations, performance and security of the cloud implementation. Somebody is implementing cloud and they are giving services to that. Auditor's job is to make sure that they are working properly or not, whether they are working fine, whether they are supporting whatever they have committed for, right? Then cloud broker. Okay, sometimes we cannot directly contact cloud provider. So in that case, we can go for a cloud broker. Okay, see, an entity that manages the use, performance and delivery of cloud services and negotiates relationships between providers and the consumers. Okay, so they are active between the providers and the consumers. And final one is the cloud carrier, an intermediary that provides connectivity and transport of cloud services from provider to consumer, right? So somebody who will provide connectivity and transport of services from provider to the consumer, cloud carrier. Okay, so these are 5 different roles. In detail, little we will try to see about these platforms, these roles or these actors, right? So consumer is the principal stakeholder, users like us. Okay, consumer represents a person or an organization that maintain a business relationship with and uses the service from cloud provider. Okay, what consumer can does? Consumer browses the service catalog from the cloud provider, requests the appropriate service, set up service contracts with the provider and uses the service, right? So we log in to AWS or Azure, we create account, we request the services and we get the task done, right? A cloud consumer may be billed for the service provisioned and needs to arrange payments accordingly, right? So he may be billed for the, since we are using cloud, we will be charged for that. Okay, then provider is somebody who is responsible for making the services. Okay, so cloud provider acquires and manages the computing infrastructure required for providing the services. So now we are seeing, right, in AWS or in Azure there are hundreds of services. So these are the cloud providers. Okay, so the major activities of the cloud provider are service deployment. Like I said, the Quantum is trending. They have created a service of Quantum in the AWS, right? So deploying new services into the platform is one task. Service orchestration, communication between different services, and cloud services management, security and privacy. These are basic functionality of the cloud provider. The third one is auditor, right? So auditor can evaluate the services provided by the provider in terms of security controls, privacy impact and performance. Okay, so this is one who will be acting for all the provider and as well as the consumer, because see, provider will tell he will give some SLA, service level agreement, right? Whether the provider is satisfying this SLA or not will be audited by the cloud auditor. And then we have cloud broker. So this is, in this what happens, sometimes, right, integration of cloud services can become too complex for the consumers to manage. So we cannot directly contact the provider. So we may take help of the cloud broker. So cloud broker is an entity that manages the use, performance and delivery of cloud services and negotiates the relationship between the provider and the consumer. So generally they do three tasks. One is service intermediation, aggregation and arbitrage. Right. So they will help you in setting up some services with the providers. In aggregation, they may combine multiple services. In arbitrage, means a broker has the flexibility to choose services from multiple agencies. It's like you are choosing some services from one provider and the other from the other provider. So these all are the tasks done by cloud broker. And the final one is cloud carrier. Right. So this is mainly responsible for carrying or creating the connectivity and transporting the cloud services from the provider to the consumer. Right. So they provide access to consumers through the network or through the internet. Right. For example, cloud consumers can obtain cloud services through network access devices like computer, laptop, mobile phone. Again, all those services are which are deployed, we can access them from any device. So carrier is the one which helps us in accessing those services given by the cloud provider. So these are 5 different actors in the cloud computing reference architecture. Right. So we have seen the definition of cloud computing and also the cloud computing reference architecture, which has 5 major roles. Right. So in detail we will be studying about these service delivery models in the next video. Thank you.